Okay, so we have lost our winch, our winch handle for our main halyard winch, and unfortunately, it looks like a normal winch, but it's an old school one that has like the square socket rather than like the star-shaped socket. So they're kind of hard to find. And on our way to Charleston, that winch handle went overboard. So we ground down this stainless steel bolt to fit in there just nicely. And now this is our winch handle. Good old-fashioned socket. It works okay for now, and it will get us to where we need to go until we can buy a replacement winch handle, or potentially just replace the winch with a newer one. So that's how we hoist our main winch.
Our time in Charleston was short and sweet. We couldn't find a replacement winch handle, so as usual, we had to get a bit creative and make one instead. After that, we had plenty of extra time to go ashore. We had the pleasure to get a private tour with a local friend who had a certain passion for history. And this city has so much history. But being architects, we were particularly interested in Charleston's historical architecture. And being sailors and all, the story of the pirate Mohr, who was hung right here in this town in the early 1700s, was also quite intriguing to us. It was great walking through the core of the city, where everything is so compact, and the more we walked, the more stories were unveiled. Some stories were great, some a bit scary. And if you are into those sort of supernatural stories, Charleston is known as one of the most haunted cities of America. Haunted by the restless spirits of former residents. Wonder what Halloween must be like here. We also had the pleasure to meet and hang out with some new friends who brought us along on a slightly different type of tour. We had a great time here in Charleston, and after a week, we were ready to hoist the sail and continue our trip north.
Bye, Charleston. It's been real.
Our overnight passage to North Carolina was uneventful, for the most part. However, that evening, just as the sun was setting, we got hit by our very first squall. Ironically, it turned out to be the most comfortable sail we had since we left Fort Pierce. We reduced our sails, Uma heeled over, and steadily glided through the water at a very comfortable speed. Only thing I would change for next time is definitely to wear glasses when it rains. Wind-blown rain hitting your face at 45 miles per hour really hurts. Look, there's a sunrise right here. We made our way into the Cape Fear River entrance just as the sun was setting. and dropped the anchor a few miles up the river to spend the night. The current really rips here and the wind was blowing quite hard, making it a pretty uncomfortable place to sleep. But then went out with Dory and put out the stern anchor so that when the tide shifted, we wouldn't swing into the nearby docks.
So when we dropped the hook, it started raining, and then there's about a 4-knot current that comes out at the Cape Fear River mouth, and the wind was against it. So we had a pretty rocky anchorage last night.
Yeah, it was rough and uncomfortable.
And now today we are sailing up the Cape Fear River to Wilmington.
Yeah.
And we're doing 5 knots going up the river, so.
It's a really, really easy, comfortable sail.
Yeah, there's no waves, there's no like chop, there's no swell. It's super calm.
Sailing up the Wilmington River was such a beautiful trip. It was such a smooth sail, and we even had time to have a little fun. And don't forget to find this week's buried treasure if you want to see how we got this cool little camera shot. The reason why we sail 20 miles up the river is because Din's family is having a little reunion up here in the beach house. So instead of taking the bus or renting a car, we decided to meet up with the sailboat.
Which is why we sailed north all the way from Fort Pierce to here.
Yep.
I think it was a total of 500 miles or so. This was kind of our first like big voyage. We did a shakedown sail to Miami, or down to the Keys and back, and that was fun. We had a third person with us. But this had always been like a tentative destination, and now we finally made it and we're here, and that's really cool because it's like our first big expedition voyage in our boat.
Oh wow,
So we
that's
have
awesome.
those going by.
Yeah, we're anchored right in front of this.
If they can make it this far up the river, certainly we could. That was my theory anyway. So tomorrow we'll probably launch the dinghy and take it up the river a little bit further and see if there's a better spot to anchor. But it was getting dark and this seemed like a really good spot, so we pulled in here for the night.
And the birds are laughing at us. We made it just south of the Wilmington port just before the sun started to go down and the clouds started to roll in. And just after we dropped the hook, we got to experience the most beautiful rainstorm and sunset combination ever. As always, we are super excited to share with you our next step when we finally fix our dinghy motor and head out to enjoy a week off in the actual house. But until then, cheers!